Good afternoon, everyone. My name's Alison Ryan, and welcome to Project Positive Change's business page, website page. I am your Loved Again and Forever coach. I'm also a member of Project Positive Change, a fantastic group of men and women who are here to share together all their experience and bring together, a change in the world. Something that I'm so proud to be part of, and so proud to be able to come and share part of my own journey with you. Hi, Caroline's watching. Nice to see you, Caroline. Would you mind sharing this for me? So today I'm actually a bit full of cold, a bit full of flu, and I can hear my own voice in my head. So if you don't hear me particularly well, tell me to shout up, because I feel like I'm shouting at the top of my voice. Today I'm talking about communication. I'm talking about the fear that we have around communication, the fear that we're not going to be understood, the fear that we're going to be misheard, misrepresented, and ultimately called out and told that what we're feeling or what we're saying is not the truth. All these things happen. Of course, they happen a lot in everyday relationships. Of course, they happen a lot in everyday relationships. They tend to happen more when we're talking from a place of needing to be understood, as opposed to sharing something about ourselves to connect. And there is a difference. There is such a big difference in it. The words that we use can be exactly the same, but what actually makes the difference is the intention behind it. And that's what I want to talk about today, because it's very subtle, but it makes all the difference in the way that you communicate. And I'm just going to make myself a bit more comfortable here, because I say I'm not feeling fantastic, and I'm sitting upright, and I want to kind of sit back and relax a bit. So often what we hear when we're, let me just move myself a bit forward. Often one of the biggest problems we have is a fear of asking for what we want, a fear of talking about what's going on for us, a fear of just saying out loud, saying to our partner what the situation is, what we're feeling about it, and the reason for that is often the response is negative. The response is, don't be silly, or that's not true, or you shouldn't feel like that, or there are number of different responses that then make us feel, we shrink. Should I feel like that? We question. Do I, am I right to express my feelings? What's wrong with me? If I'm feeling like this and I'm being told I shouldn't, there must be something wrong with me. So what we often do is we tend to draw back into ourselves. We don't share. We don't want to go and share. And then we go into our own heads, and we create a story in our heads about why we're feeling like this. What's the problem? And it gets bigger and bigger and bigger in our own head. And of course, the next time we decide that we want to do that connection, we want to go in and we want to share what we're feeling or how we're feeling, or just something that's going on for us, the story in our head starts click, 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 and before you know it, we've had the conversation, we've had a negative outcome, we've had us shrinking back into ourselves, and we've had our husband, wife, whatever, on the defensive and pushing us away emotionally, and we haven't even opened our mouths. I've had that experience many times, and I hear this day in, day out from clients of mine or girlfriends of mine. So I'm sure that I'm not alone in this, and I'm sure that on some level you can understand, or you've been in the same place. What to do when you're in that place, however, is take a step back, acknowledge that voice in your head, acknowledge that conversation that's going on, acknowledge that it isn't actually the truth, acknowledge it's nothing more than a decision that you've made, an outcome that you've created based on something that's happened in the past. It's not the truth. It can become the truth. It can become your truth. You can make it your truth if you keep that story going. Because if you go in with that story playing in your head, that's the energy that you're taking into the conversation. You're setting it up to play out exactly as you think it's going to. So it's really important to be aware of the story that's going on up here and acknowledge that it's not the truth. Acknowledge that it's just a fear that you've got going on, and take that and say, thank you very much for being here and warning me what can happen if I share my truth. But I'm to put you to one side, and I'm going to leave you there, because I know that, Mr. Thoughts, Mr. Shitty Committee, whatever you call the thoughts going on in your head, I know you're trying to protect me. I know you don't want to see me hurt. I know you don't like me when I'm hurt. But, I'm going to deal with this my way. I'm going to take my time, and I'm going to communicate with my partner from my heart. And I'm going to accept the consequences. I'm going to have no expectations of that conversation. I'm going to be very aware of what I want to communicate, but I'm not going to get caught up on what comes out of it. I'm not going to get caught up on the reaction. This is merely me communicating with you, or my partner, in order to create a connection. And it makes such a difference, because you're taking that story, you're leaving the story to one side, and now it's time to get clear. What do you want to communicate? What is it that you want from this conversation? What's the result that you're trying to get? Now, if the result is that you're trying to get something, you're trying to get understanding, then you need to be clear about that. I'm telling you this because I'd like you to understand how I'm feeling. And what you expect your partner to do with that information. When you have this information, I would like you then to, tell me what you think of it, or I would like you to just know. I don't expect you to do anything. I don't expect you to, oh goodness, everything's clicking in my ears here. I don't expect you to do anything with it. I just want you to know, so that you understand what's going on for me at the moment. When you actually set the conversation up like that, you're sitting on the sofa with the story playing in your head, and you manage to take that story out of your head and put it to one side, and really get clear on what it is that you want from this communication, what your agenda is, and be completely honest about it. Because if you say, I'm just telling you this, I don't want you to do anything, but actually behind it is, I want you to understand me, you get that same defensive reaction that you get. Apologies for that. I don't know if you can hear the bells ringing in the background. If you're talking, if you're looking for some reaction and you're not being honest about it, the defensiveness comes back up because the other person feels it. So it's very, very important to be honest. It's very important to actually set it out. Why are you having this conversation? And a lot of the time, when I'm talking to people, they say, but does that mean I can't say what I'm feeling? Does that mean that I've got to be nicey about it? Absolutely not. Absolutely not. I'm going to stop shaking my hands about it. I'm going to sit in my hands for a second and see if that makes me any more mature. The whole purpose of communication isn't to flatter the other person, isn't to, hi Linda, isn't to massage someone else's ego, any more than it is to get something back from them. It's to share honestly. So if that means that you're having a shitty old time and things aren't working out for you, you need to be from that place. As long as you're not sharing from the place of, I want you to do something about it. Oh, a nice happy smiley face. If it's, this is happening for me, I'm not happy with it, I'm comfortable with it, and I'm working on a solution to that, and I will keep you informed as to what that solution is going to be. And that solution might well be that I need to take my hands out. I can't keep them under my legs. I can't speak with my hands unless they're waving around. You need to be able to talk from a place and explain what's happening. For instance, when I back and set boundaries with my husband again a couple of weeks ago. I couldn't just go in there and start saying, well, this is it and that's it, and we're not changing any, everything's going to change, and you've got no say over it. I had to say, look, this is what happened. I took my eye off the ball. I did it knowingly. I've let things slip and I'm feeling pretty shit about it, which means I'm going to have to go in and put my boundaries back in place. And you're going to notice it because I'm going to be true to myself, which means I'll be saying no to you a lot more. And, and I'll be calling you out on things that I'm not comfortable with, things that this time last week I probably let you away with. I'm not being unkind. I'm not asking for anything from him. I'm not telling him that I expect it from him. I'm just telling him how things are going to be. And now he knows. And now he's aware of it. So now when I start saying, not like that, mate, he can say, there she goes with her boundaries, and either fall line, or he can argue back and say, do you know what? I never liked this. This doesn't work for me. Let's talk about it. But at least I'm telling him why I'm doing something. At least I'm being honest about where I'm coming from. And he's got the opportunity to weigh it up himself, or to reject it, or to ignore it. Not my call how it lands on him, but at least I'm talking I'm talking my truth, if you like. And that's something that when we're in a fearful place, when we're living in our heads and the thoughts are swirling around, and the conversation that's, that we've not even had has been played out, and you've been put down and you've been denied and you've been told that you're wrong, all in your head, it makes it really difficult to open your mouth and talk from a different place, doesn't it? It's almost impossible to have that conversation without, I'm getting lots of love from that. Without being on the back foot, without going in sort of softly and trying, and then that's where we fall into this trap of trying to get something back. Because instead of being powerful, and I don't mean overpowering, I mean powerful because you believe in what you're saying yourself. That's very different from being overpowering and trying to force your will on somebody. But you're powerful. You know what you want to say. You know why you want to say it, and you know that you don't need that other person, be it your husband, be it your work colleague, be it your boss even, to understand or to do anything for you. You can go in and you can have that conversation, and then you let it go. And that's, that is the most wonderful, wonderful way of communicating. And I'm not saying it happens overnight. The first time you do it, your husband's going to, I don't believe you. You said that before, didn't you? And it didn't happen. So you need to keep doing it. You need to train and train and train yourself first and foremost. You need to train yourself to get into that habit of being able to, hold a conversation from a place of power and from a place of explaining how things are. Oh, Caroline's sending me love as well. And and Linda, gosh, my head's all over the place today, so I'm seeing all these little love hearts and I'm thrown off completely. But yeah, when you go in from that place of power, I am communicating not because of any other reason that I want you to know that I want to be with you. I don't need to be with you. I want to be with you. And I want you to understand me. I want to understand you. So I'm creating this space for us as a couple to share what we're feeling. And I'm willing to open my ears and listen to you. And this is how we do it. Oh no, somebody's sad. So that's, that whole, sorry, you didn't mean to do that, Caroline. I thought, what have I said? Who have I offended? The people pleaser in me immediately came to the surface. Oh my God, who have I upset here? So, when we can set it up from that place, there is no reason to be in fear. There is no reason to worry about saying the wrong thing, because that's the other thing. When we're in our heads, we're creating the conversation. We play the conversation over. We try and get it word perfect. About derailing you with my love. I know, but I'm such a sucker for love, Linda. I really am a sucker for love, and I can't help waving my hands either. I've got my jazz hands. but you know, don't we play that conversation over and we try to get it word perfect. The whole thing is, it doesn't need to be word perfect. All it needs to be is true. All it needs to be is from your heart, and all it needs to be is not trying to get something back, but give something to. So share what you're feeling, share your love, share yourself with the other, you know, with your partner. And when you're doing that, it doesn't matter. You can bugger it up. You can use as many stupid analogies as you want. You can be as silly as you want. You can get, you know, you get the words all mixed up as I am now. But what you will get is, you know, a connection. Because that's what you're going for. That's what you're giving out. You're going for a connection. You're sharing from your heart. You're not caught in your head. You're caught in your heart. And when you're talking from there, everything changes. So, you know, that's the one thing. I think I keep going on about this. I have no idea if I keep talking and talking and talking about it, but it's so important because I spend so much time with clients trying to get them out of their heads, trying to get them to understand that it doesn't have to be the words that you use, it's the sentiment behind it. And the sentiment behind it is, I love you, you love me, that's why we came together in the first place. So let's find a way to have that conversation. Let's find a way to open our hearts and just share. So I think that's all I have today. It's very quick, very to the point, if I'm ever to the point. So if anyone's got any questions, I'm just going to Caroline saying, don't stop using your hands. Talk with your hands. You wouldn't be you otherwise. Sad face for knocking you off track. Great tip. I not only write my part, but also the other person's part too. Often guilty of playing both sides. Yeah, and we do that. We play the whole thing, and we've already got this in our head before we even open our mouths to have it. And of course, yeah. If you're into law, if you're into any of these things, what you're doing is you're basically creating the conversation. You're creating the outcome before you even started. And we don't need to do that. All we need to do is know that you're being true to your own self and true to your relationship. And start small. The other thing that is so important is to start small. You know, when you get into those conversations and you start to lose your way, you start to find that you're flailing a little bit and you're not getting where you actually want to go. It's fine to stop the conversation there. It's fine to say, this isn't what I intended. Let's stop this now and we can revisit it. Or when you're in that place where you're both sitting silently on the sofa, terrified to open your mouth, change the conversation. Start with a few banalities. You know, go back into connecting from a place of, you know, very simply, tell me about you. Tell me about your day. How's your week? What's going on for you? What can we do together to move us out of this, this fear that we're both in? Because the thing that we often forget is, if I'm in fear, he's in fear. If I'm hurt, he's hurt. If I'm upset, then so is he. But so often we get so caught up in our own feelings, we forget, and we project the blame onto the other party, that we forget to think about how they're feeling. So, that's another way to connect is, let's stop this now. It's not getting us anywhere. How about we just go back to basics? How about we talk about we have some small talk, build up the connection again, build up the trust in the small things. Take yourself out, do something completely different. So if anyone's got any questions, I'd love them. Again, if anyone's got any topics for next week, I'd love that too. Otherwise, I think I'm done for the day. No? Fair enough then. Okay, I'm going to leave you. One thing, I'd like to invite you, why not come and join, if you haven't already, the Gratitude Challenge. I'm running a beautiful little gratitude group, 30 days of gratitude practice, not an attitude of gratitude because that doesn't get us anywhere, but actual practice of gratitude. So it started yesterday, you're not too late, come and join me. I'll drop the link below. Actually, I know that Caroline, you're already there. I can't remember, Linda, if you were or not. but it's a great place to set yourself up for the day. Set yourself up, take yourself out of your head, and and get your feelings on paper. So have a great week. I'll see you this time next week. And if you get any topics, don't forget to ask me.